Hey guys, tonight we explore medieval remedies for restless nights and sleepy heads. Imagine cozy chambers scented with herbs, flickering candlelight, and curious concoctions to chase away insomnia. You probably won't survive their stronger brews though. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You trudge into a dimly lit chamber, the heavy wooden door creaking closed behind you. The air is thick with the scent of dried herbs, lavender, sage, and something a bit more mysterious, perhaps valerian root. Candles flicker gently on iron sconces, their warm light casting soft shadows over tapestries that whisper tales of forgotten times. Here in medieval Europe, sleep wasn't just a nightly occurrence. It was a precious, sometimes elusive ritual. People faced restless nights not because of blue screens or city noise, but due to worries about harvests, illnesses, or the general unpredictability of life. And the remedies? They were a curious mix of herbal wisdom, superstition, and early medical practices that would make even the most adventurous insomniac raise an eyebrow. Let's start with a reality check. If you think your sleepless nights are tough, imagine trying to drift off while worrying about, say, a rat infestation or the plague. The stakes were high and so were the remedies, some gentle, some downright peculiar. Take valerian root, for instance, a common ingredient brewed into teas for calming nerves. Its earthy smell was not exactly what we'd call relaxing today, but it was trusted to hush the mind's restless chatter. Historians still argue whether the doses medieval people consumed had actual sedative effects or if the placebo power of ritual played the bigger role. Your eyes adjust as you imagine the preparation of these herbal infusions. Women, often the household healers, would carefully measure dried flowers and roots, boiling them over open hearths. Chamomile, known even then as a gentle relaxant, mingled with honey, a sweetener and sleep aid that soothed throats and nerves alike. Honey was considered a kind of panacea, used not only in teas but also in syrups combined with other herbs to ease the body toward rest. The scents of lavender and rosemary weren't just for show either. People believed that surrounding themselves with fragrant flowers helped ward off bad humors, the unseen forces thought to cause sickness and sleeplessness. You can almost smell the lavender sachets tucked under pillows, their calming aroma inviting you to close your eyes. But not all remedies were so sweet. Some involved poppy seeds or even opium derivatives, known but often carefully rationed. Historians still debate whether such substances were a common aid or reserved for nobility and clergy. The idea of dosing yourself with opiates for a good night's sleep sounds simultaneously tempting and terrifying. Thankfully, for the average villager, more accessible methods like warm baths served as both cleansing rituals and relaxation aids. The heat soothed tired muscles, and the act of bathing itself was thought to prepare the body and soul for sleep. And then there were the chants, monks and nuns filling abbeys with soft, repetitive prayers. These rhythms created a kind of early white noise, a soothing sonic environment that quieted the mind's chaos. Imagine falling asleep to the gentle hum of voices rising and falling, each note a lullaby centuries in the making. Medieval sleep wasn't just about shutting your eyes. It was a carefully crafted experience blending nature, spirituality, and emerging medical ideas. Whether through the aroma of herbs, the comfort of warmth, or the ritual of prayers, people sought solace in whatever means they could find. So tonight, as you settle under your blanket, maybe light a candle or breathe in a little lavender, remember those restless souls who, despite their strange potions and rituals, shared the universal hope of a peaceful, uninterrupted night's sleep.
You begin to notice how much medieval sleep remedies leaned on herbal infusions and calming teas, a kind of natural pharmacy brewed right at home. Picture a hearth alive with simmering pots, where delicate leaves and roots steep slowly to coax the body toward rest. Chamomile, for instance, was a superstar, its tiny, daisy-like flowers packed with soothing compounds that could ease tension and quiet the racing mind. You might sip this golden tea just before bed, savoring the mild sweetness as it wraps around your senses. Valerian root plays its part too, a somewhat earthy and musky herb with a reputation for calming frayed nerves. Though its aroma is hardly what you'd call pleasant, medieval apothecaries prized it for its potential to help troubled sleepers. You can almost imagine the careful hands grinding the dried root into powders or brewing it into thick, dark teas. But historians still argue whether these preparations actually induced sleep or if the power of belief and ritual carried more weight. After all, in a time when science was still budding, the placebo effect might have been a powerful friend. As you think about the act of brewing, it's worth noting how central these herbal teas were, not just for sleep but for general well-being. The ritual of making tea, slow and deliberate, itself became a calming prelude to rest. The gentle bubbling of water, the soft clinking of pottery, the warm steam rising, all sensory cues signaling that it was time to slow down. Some nights, people would add honey, not just for sweetness but because it was believed to have mild sedative properties. Honey's soothing texture and taste made bitter herbal infusions more palatable, transforming them into gentle lullabies for the palate. Lavender also deserves a mention here, though its role was as much about scent as ingestion. Medieval households would dry bundles of lavender to tuck under pillows or hang near beds. Its calming fragrance was thought to ward off evil spirits and bad humors that might disturb sleep. You might catch yourself inhaling its soft, floral scent even now, feeling that familiar nudge toward relaxation. Don't forget lemon balm and mint, often added for freshness and to balance heavier herbs. These plants not only improved flavor but were also believed to ease digestive discomfort, a common culprit for sleeplessness. You know, nothing ruins a good night's rest like a rumbling tummy or an unsettled stomach. Medieval remedies often recognized this connection between gut and sleep, long before modern science caught up. The brewing of these herbal concoctions was often done by women, mothers, grandmothers, and midwives, who carried the wisdom of generations. Their knowledge blended folk tradition with emerging medical theory, adapting recipes to local plants and needs. Sometimes these remedies were shared within communities, passed down in hushed tones alongside stories of their mysterious origins. In all this, the line between medicine and magic blurred. While chamomile and valerian had real calming effects, some infusions included ingredients that today might raise eyebrows or cause suspicion. The mix of practical herbalism and hopeful superstition colored medieval life and sleep alike. So as you imagine that steaming cup in your hand, warm and fragrant, remember it wasn't just about the herbs, it was the ritual, the pause, the moment of care that made the difference. Sleep, after all, is as much a state of mind as it is of body.
The scent of lavender and other fragrant flowers played a starring role in medieval bedrooms, turning sleep spaces into tiny botanical sanctuaries. Imagine stepping into a chamber where bundles of dried lavender, rosemary, and sage hang from wooden beams or rest quietly on windowsills. These weren't mere decorations. They were carefully chosen for their soothing aromas and their supposed power to invite restful sleep and mask less pleasant odors. After all, medieval homes weren't known for their hygiene standards by modern measures, and the smell of livestock, cooking fires, or damp stone could be quite overpowering. Lavender was king of the sleep garden, its floral perfume a gentle balm for frayed nerves. People believed its scent could ward off nightmares and evil spirits, a kind of olfactory insurance policy for the night. You might find small sachets tucked under pillows or stuffed into mattress seams, releasing their calming fragrance slowly as sleepers drifted off. Rosemary and sage weren't just for cooking. They carried their own subtle herbaceous notes that mingled in the air, contributing to a sense of calm and cleanliness. The art of scenting bedrooms extended beyond flowers. Sweet-smelling woods like cedar were sometimes used in chests or carved furniture, releasing gentle aromas that eased the mind. Aromatic resins, like frankincense and myrrh, occasionally found their way into incense burned in private chambers or chapels. These smells weren't just relaxing. They were spiritual, believed to purify the air and create a protective atmosphere. Interestingly, historians still argue whether these fragrant rituals served more practical or symbolic purposes. Some scholars suggest they were early attempts at air purification in rooms prone to dampness and mold, while others emphasize their role in medieval beliefs about invisible forces and spiritual protection. Either way, the scent of these plants and woods became intertwined with the experience of bedtime itself. Lavender's calming properties, we now know, are backed by modern science to some extent. It can reduce anxiety and promote sleep. But in medieval times, these beliefs were wrapped up in a web of spiritual meaning. People feared bad humors, evil spirits, and witches, and fragrant plants were thought to repel such disturbances. You might find yourself chuckling at the idea of lavender as a medieval security system, but it did bring peace of mind, which is half the battle when chasing sleep. Even today, the smell of lavender can conjure a feeling of calm, linking us subtly to those medieval chambers long gone. So next time you tuck in, maybe breathe in deeply and remember those simple, fragrant hopes for a good night's rest.
Imagine sinking your head into a pillow bursting with fragrant herbs, a common medieval practice believed to summon sweet dreams and deep rest. Pillows back then weren't just fluffy cushions. They were carefully stuffed bundles designed with both comfort and magic in mind. People believed that the more herbs you packed inside, the more potent the pillow's sleep-inducing powers would be. It wasn't unusual to find pillows filled with lavender, rosemary, or even hops, each chosen for their calming or protective properties. These herbal pillows served multiple purposes. First, they masked the less-than-pleasant odors of medieval homes, which were often damp, smoky, or even, shall we say, rustic. But beyond just covering smells, the herbs were thought to influence the sleeper's dreams and prevent nightmares. There was a genuine belief that certain scents could ward off evil spirits or keep restless thoughts at bay. You might chuckle now, but the idea of scent therapy isn't all that different from modern aromatherapy pillows sold today. The size and stuffing of the pillow mattered too. Larger, fluffier pillows were seen as a luxury and believed to bring more comfort and better sleep. Wealthier households might have pillows packed with down feathers and fine herbs, while common folk made do with straw and locally gathered plants. The quality of the pillow could be a status symbol. Imagine trying to impress your medieval sweetheart with the fluffiest, most fragrant pillow around. Interestingly, historians still debate how widespread this herbal pillow tradition really was. Some sources suggest it was common across Europe, while others argue it was mostly an elite or urban practice. Either way, it's clear that people took their sleep seriously, investing time and care into creating the right environment. Of course, the more herbs packed in, the stronger the scent, which wasn't always pleasant for everyone. Valerian, for example, was effective but known for its pungent aroma, sometimes compared to old gym socks. So while some people swore by its calming effects, others avoided it altogether. It's a bit like today's love-hate relationship with essential oils. One person's relaxation is another's headache. And while these herbal pillows might not guarantee the sweetest dreams, the sensory comfort they offered was no doubt a welcome companion in otherwise unpredictable medieval nights. The soft rustling of herbs under your head, the faint scent tickling your nose, it all worked together to create a bedtime ritual that prepared both body and mind for rest. So next time you fluff your pillow, take a moment to appreciate those medieval dreamers who believed that sleep could be invited with a well-stuffed bundle of fragrant leaves.
Honey wasn't just a delightful treat in medieval times. It also played a sweet, soothing role in sleep remedies. Imagine a small wooden bowl of golden honey sitting beside a steaming cup of herbal tea, ready to be stirred in. People believed honey had mild sedative properties that could ease the nervous system and make drifting off easier. Beyond sweetness, it was thought to nourish the body and soothe the throat, especially when combined with calming herbs like chamomile or lemon balm. The use of honey in sleep aids had a long history, dating back to ancient times, but it flourished in medieval apothecaries and households alike. Honey was often mixed into syrups, herbal infusions, or warm milk drinks before bedtime, forming a gentle, natural lullaby for the senses. The warmth of the drink paired with honey's smooth texture created a comforting ritual, something like a medieval version of your favorite bedtime snack. Interestingly, honey also had a practical role. Its natural antibacterial properties helped preserve herbal mixtures, ensuring they stayed fresh longer. That's a handy bonus when you're brewing your sleepy time tonic over a smoky hearth. The sweetness also masked some of the bitter or earthy flavors of medicinal herbs, making them more palatable for weary drinkers. Historians still argue whether honey's calming effects were mostly symbolic or had genuine physiological impact. Modern research suggests that honey can promote relaxation by raising insulin slightly, allowing tryptophan to enter the brain and convert to serotonin, which then helps produce melatonin, the hormone regulating sleep. Whether medieval folks understood this science is doubtful, but their empirical wisdom got them surprisingly close. You might smile imagining a medieval nightcap, a small, sweet sip to calm your nerves after a long day of tending fields or navigating court intrigues. For children, warm milk with honey was often the go-to drink, soothing restless bodies and minds. For adults, stronger syrups infused with herbs and honey promised deeper, more restful slumber. But honey wasn't without caution. Too much could upset digestion or cause sugar-induced restlessness. So, like today, moderation was key. Some medieval texts even advised against heavy meals or sweet drinks right before bed, fearing they might cause nightmares or discomfort. So next time you drizzle honey into your tea or on your toast, think about those medieval sleepyheads who found comfort in its gentle sweetness, a timeless invitation to slow down and savor the coming night.
Now brace yourself, because medieval sleep remedies occasionally tiptoe into more potent territory with the curious use of poppy seeds and opium derivatives. You might think of opium as a dangerous drug today, but back then, its calming qualities were recognized and sometimes harnessed to chase away the restless mind. Poppy seeds, derived from the opium poppy, were more accessible and used in cooking and medicine alike, though the line between a culinary treat and a soporific agent was often blurry. Imagine a medieval apothecary carefully preparing tinctures or balms infused with poppy extracts, offering them to patients suffering from insomnia or anxiety. Yet, historians still argue whether these stronger remedies were commonly used by everyday folk or reserved for the elite and clergy, who had better access to such potent substances. It's a murky subject, partly because detailed records are sparse and the taboo nature of opium in some communities means its use wasn't always openly documented. The effects of these remedies could be profound. A few drops of opium tincture might send a sufferer into a deep, dreamless sleep, but the risks were significant, including dependency or worse. So, their use required careful knowledge and sometimes a leap of faith. You can almost imagine the hush-hush atmosphere surrounding these powerful potions, part medical marvel, part mystical cure. For the average person, poppy seeds found their way more subtly into recipes, perhaps in breads or porridges, offering a mild calming effect without the dangers of stronger extracts. Some folk remedies suggested sprinkling poppy seeds on pillows or carrying them in sachets to help induce sleep, relying on scent and symbolism as much as pharmacology. This dichotomy between accessible and elite sleep aids reflects broader medieval attitudes towards medicine, where mystery and mysticism often mingled with emerging scientific thought. Whether opiates were commonly used or more of a secret weapon remains a topic of scholarly debate, highlighting the gaps in our understanding of medieval health practices. So, while you might smile at the thought of a medieval sleepyhead quietly dosing themselves with a potent poppy balm, remember that such remedies were a double-edged sword. They offered relief but demanded respect, and perhaps a good bedside nurse.
The idea of white noise might seem modern, but medieval monks had their own soothing sonic rituals to help lull restless minds to sleep. Picture a monastery at dusk, cloistered stone walls, flickering candles, and the gentle echo of chanting drifting through the halls. These repetitive prayers and hymns weren't just acts of devotion. They served a practical purpose too, creating a rhythmic soundscape that quieted the chaos of daily life. Monastic chanting, especially Gregorian chant, was slow, melodic, and hypnotic. As the monks intoned their prayers in unison, the rising and falling cadence created a calming atmosphere, akin to a centuries-old sleep aid. Imagine lying on a simple pallet in a stone cell, the cool air heavy with incense as these steady voices weave a sonic blanket, making it easier to drift off. Historians still argue whether these chants were primarily spiritual tools or early forms of meditative therapy for troubled sleepers. Interestingly, this practice highlights the connection between rhythm and relaxation, something modern sleep science affirms. Repetitive sounds, like rain or ocean waves, can reduce stress and prepare the brain for sleep, and monks unintentionally tapped into this centuries ago. The soothing power of sound became part of a nightly routine that blended faith and well-being. Outside monastic walls, similar repetitive prayers and hymns found their way into laypeople's lives, especially in deeply religious communities. Families might recite prayers before bed, the rhythmic cadence helping children and adults settle their busy minds. This interplay between sound and spirit provided both comfort and a structured way to transition from wakefulness to rest. You might chuckle at the idea of a medieval sleep playlist consisting solely of chant, but its effectiveness is undeniable. It wasn't about entertainment or distraction, but about creating a peaceful mental space. The chant's minimalism meant they didn't overstimulate but rather coaxed the mind into gentle stillness. So next time you struggle with a busy brain at bedtime, think of those monks intoning ancient prayers, their voices weaving a timeless lullaby that still echoes through history, and maybe, just maybe, try humming a slow chant of your own.
Imagine stepping into a medieval home after a long, weary day and heading toward a warm bath. A ritual that wasn't just about cleanliness but also about preparing the body and mind for rest. Warm baths played a surprisingly important role in medieval sleep remedies, serving as a gentle way to soothe tired muscles and calm an overactive nervous system before bedtime. Bathing in medieval times wasn't as frequent as today, mainly because of limited heating technology and water access. But when it happened, it was a cherished ritual. Picture large wooden tubs filled with steaming water, infused with herbs like rosemary, lavender, or chamomile, their scents swirling in the air as you soak. The warmth helped relax your body, easing tension and encouraging sleep. Some believed that the steam opened pores, allowing the healing properties of herbs to penetrate deep into the skin. Historians still argue about how widespread this practice was. While the wealthy enjoyed private baths and bathhouses, common folk might have had to make do with sponge baths or communal facilities. Yet the link between bathing and better sleep seems to transcend social classes. Even medieval medical texts recommend warm baths as a remedy for insomnia and nervous disorders. Beyond the physical benefits, warm baths offered a psychological transition from the day's labor to nighttime rest. The simple act of soaking created a moment of calm reflection, signaling the body that it was time to unwind. You can almost feel the heat radiating from the tub, the steam softening the edges of a hard day. Interestingly, baths also serve to clean away not just dirt but bad humors, the invisible bodily fluids medieval medicine blamed for many ailments, including sleeplessness. By purging these humors through sweat and water, people hoped to restore balance and promote restful sleep. Some medieval bath recipes included exotic ingredients like rose petals or spices, turning the experience into a mini spa treatment. Imagine the luxurious scent of cinnamon mingling with lavender, creating an atmosphere both calming and indulgent. This blend of practicality and indulgence shows medieval people's keen understanding of sensory influence on well-being. So next time you enjoy a warm bath before bed, remember those medieval bathers who discovered centuries ago that a little warmth and fragrant water could do wonders for chasing away the restless night.
As night falls in medieval times, bedtime prayers and rituals weave a comforting tapestry that helps restless souls settle into sleep. Imagine yourself kneeling beside a simple wooden bed, hands clasped as familiar words rise softly in the dim candlelight. These prayers weren't just acts of faith, they were essential parts of the sleep ritual, blending spirituality with psychological solace. Bedtime prayers offered a sense of protection against the unknown. In a world full of mysterious illnesses, wandering spirits, and unpredictable dangers, asking for divine guardianship was as practical as locking the door. People believed that reciting specific prayers or psalms could shield them from nightmares or evil influences. Some households had prayer books open by their beds, ready to guide the ritual. The repetition and rhythm of these prayers had a calming effect on the mind, similar to the monks chanting. As you softly whisper familiar verses, your thoughts slow and focus, creating mental space for rest. Historians still argue how much the spiritual element versus the meditative quality of prayer contributed to better sleep. Regardless, the ritual itself became a powerful sleep aid. Beyond personal prayer, families often gathered to say grace before bed, connecting with each other and sharing a moment of peace. This communal aspect fostered security and warmth, helping children and adults alike feel safe as darkness deepened. Some medieval texts included specific prayers or rituals designed explicitly to ease insomnia. These might involve lighting candles in a particular pattern or reciting certain invocations believed to soothe restless spirits. The boundary between religion and medicine blurred, with clergy often doubling as healers. Interestingly, these spiritual sleep aids were complemented by physical tokens. Crosses hung near beds, holy water sprinkled on pillows, or amulets blessed by priests. Together, these tangible and intangible elements created a multi-sensory environment designed to nurture sleep. So as you prepare to drift off tonight, remember that your modern bedtime routine isn't so different from those medieval prayers whispered in quiet rooms long ago, both rooted in the timeless human desire for peace and protection in the night.
Night air and ventilation were surprisingly hot topics in medieval sleep debates. No wonder, since fresh air could mean the difference between a restful night and waking up groggy or ill. Imagine a stone chamber with small shuttered windows, designed to let in just enough breeze without chilling the sleeper. Medieval architects and doctors alike discussed the best ways to keep bedrooms fresh, balancing warmth and airflow for optimal rest. People believed that stagnant air trapped bad humors, those invisible bodily fluids blamed for illness and sleeplessness. Ventilation was thus seen as a way to purge the air of harmful influences, keeping the bedroom a healthy sanctuary. Yet there was a fine line. Too much cold air could cause illness, but too little led to discomfort and restless nights. In wealthier homes, windows might be covered with oiled parchment or cloth to filter drafts, while common folk often relied on small openings or chimneys to manage airflow. Some rooms had special vents or smoke holes to release cooking and heating fumes, which otherwise would linger and disturb sleep. Historians still argue about how effective medieval ventilation really was. Was it more about practical comfort, or tied deeply to beliefs about air's spiritual and medical qualities? Either way, fresh air was coveted. People sometimes placed bunches of fragrant herbs near windows or beds, not just for scent but to purify the incoming breeze. Ventilation also affected bedding choices. Heavy curtains or hangings around beds helped block drafts, creating a microclimate to protect sleepers from cold and insects. You might picture thick tapestries swaying gently with the breeze, softening the room's stone chill and muffling outside sounds. Night air wasn't only a health concern, it was woven into folklore. Some believed that evil spirits roamed more freely when windows were open at night, prompting families to carefully secure their chambers before sleep. Yet, others recommended fresh air to keep such spirits at bay, a fascinating contradiction that underscores medieval complexity. So as you close your window tonight or adjust your fan, think of those medieval sleepers debating how much air to let in, an age-old balancing act between health, comfort, and superstition, all in the quest for peaceful slumber.
Imagine for a moment the sensation of a warm, fragrant balm gently rubbed onto your temples and wrists, a common medieval practice believed to ease the mind and body into sleep. Animal fats, often mixed with herbs and aromatic oils, were the base for these soothing concoctions. Picture a small pot of thick, waxy ointment scented with lavender, rosemary, or valerian, lovingly applied to the skin before bedtime. These balms served multiple purposes. The warmth of the massage itself relaxed muscles and calmed nerves, while the herbal scents worked to soothe restless thoughts. Some remedies included ingredients like ambergris or musk, rare and prized for their calming aromas. Applying such a balm was both a physical and sensory ritual, signaling to the body that the day's labors were done and rest was near. The choice of animal fat, be it pork, beef, or even horse, was practical, providing a stable base to hold and release the herbal essences over time. Though it might sound odd to us now, the greasiness helped moisturize the skin during long, cold nights, offering comfort beyond simple scent. Historians still debate the actual efficacy of these balms, questioning whether their soothing effect was primarily due to the massage, the herbs, or the placebo of ritual. Regardless, the combination of touch and fragrance created a powerful cue for relaxation, much like a modern spa treatment. Interestingly, these balms were often made at home by women skilled in herbal medicine, blending tradition with experimentation. Recipes could vary widely between regions and families, some guarded as treasured secrets. You might imagine a grandmother carefully grinding herbs with a mortar and pestle, infusing fats with plant power. The ritual of applying sleep balm also had social and emotional dimensions. In wealthier households, servants or family members might assist in this soothing preparation, turning it into a moment of care and intimacy before nightfall. For common folk, it was a self-care act, a pause to nurture the body and mind. So as you rub lotion on your hands tonight or breathe in a scented cream, recall those medieval sleepers who believed a touch of balm could cradle them into dreamland, a tactile and fragrant embrace bridging centuries.
Now picture the curious world of medieval sleep stones and amulets. Small talismans tucked under pillows or hung near beds, believed to guard against nightmares and restless nights. These objects ranged from polished crystals to carved bone or metal charms, each carrying symbolic meaning and protective power. You might imagine a tiny pouch filled with herbs and a smooth, cool stone resting beside your head, promising peaceful dreams and spiritual safety. The use of such talismans was rooted in a blend of superstition, folklore, and early medical thought. People believed that nightmares and insomnia weren't just physical ailments but also attacks by evil spirits or curses. Sleep stones were thought to absorb or deflect these negative forces, acting as a shield in the vulnerable hours of night. Some stones, like amethyst or moonstone, were prized for their calming properties, thought to soothe turbulent emotions and encourage restful sleep. Others were engraved with religious symbols, crosses, saints' images, or prayers, offering spiritual protection alongside the physical. Historians still argue how widespread the practice was and whether these talismans were effective or mostly comforting placebo. The line between medicine and magic was thin, and in many communities, these sleep stones sat comfortably alongside herbal remedies and prayers. You can almost picture the care with which such charms were made or acquired, whether by a family healer, a traveling merchant, or a local craftsman. The belief in their power gave sleepers a sense of control over the mysterious forces of night. Some people even carried small stones or amulets during the day, hoping to extend their protective power beyond the bedroom. This blending of sleep aid and general well-being highlights the holistic approach medieval people took toward health. So as you place your phone or a keepsake near your bed tonight, consider those medieval sleepers clutching their own little tokens, silently hoping for safe passage through the dream world, a timeless quest for comfort and peace in the dark.
Medieval dietary advice for better sleep was surprisingly thoughtful and specific, reflecting an early understanding of the connection between what you eat and how well you rest. Imagine the evening meal. Simple, hearty fare designed not just to fill the stomach but also to prepare the body for a peaceful night. People were cautious about overeating or indulging in rich foods before bedtime, fearing digestive discomfort that could lead to restless tossing. One common piece of advice was to avoid heavy meats and spicy dishes late in the day. Instead, meals might center around bread, porridge, or lightly cooked vegetables, paired with mild cheese or small amounts of fish. These foods were easier to digest and less likely to cause indigestion, which medieval doctors believed disturbed the balance of humors and thus sleep. Historians still argue how much these guidelines were followed in practice, especially among the lower classes with limited food choices. Yet, the principle that digestion impacts sleep echoes strongly in modern nutrition science. A calm stomach often means a calm mind, a connection medieval thinkers intuitively grasped. Interestingly, sweet and fermented foods were a bit of a double-edged sword. Honey, as we've seen, was a beloved sleep aid in moderation, but too much sweetness or alcohol could have the opposite effect, leading to disturbed rest or vivid dreams. The balance was delicate and personalized. Some medieval texts even recommend specific sleepy foods, like barley water or warm milk with herbs, as gentle nightcaps. These drinks aim to soothe the digestive tract and calm nerves, acting as liquid invitations to rest. On the flip side, large meals late at night were warned against, believed to cause nightmares or evil dreams, a testament to the era's vivid imagination about sleep disturbances. You might chuckle imagining a medieval diet plan for insomnia, with scribbled notes from healers advising light suppers and herbal infusions. but it reflects a holistic approach to health that resonates today. So next time you plan your evening meal, remember those medieval sleepyheads who pondered the art of dining well, not just for taste but for the sweet embrace of restful sleep.
Among the many peculiar beliefs woven into medieval sleep remedies, the strange fascination with witch's butter and other fungi stands out as both curious and mysterious. Picture a small, gelatinous blob of bright orange or yellowish fungus, often found growing on old wood or tree bark, something that looks more like a creature from a fairy tale than a medicinal ingredient. Medieval folk regarded these fungi with mixed feelings, sometimes as omens, other times as valuable components in healing and sleep potions. Witch's butter, also known by its scientific name Tremella mesenterica, was believed to have magical properties. It was thought to absorb bad dreams or negative energies that disturbed sleep. Some herbalists incorporated it into mixtures designed to calm the restless mind, while others simply kept it as a talisman to protect the sleeper. The gelatinous texture and unusual appearance gave it a mysterious allure, reinforcing its reputation as a supernatural agent. Historians still debate whether the use of such fungi was widespread or limited to certain regions where knowledge of local plants and mushrooms was rich. The blending of natural observation and folklore created a complex relationship with these strange organisms. Were they harmful, harmless, or healing? This ambiguity reflects medieval attitudes toward nature, where magic and medicine often coexisted. Fungi like witch's butter also had practical uses. Some were believed to have antimicrobial properties or to aid in digestion, indirectly contributing to better sleep by improving overall health. But their role in sleep remedies was as much symbolic as medical. You might smile at the idea of counting fungi as part of your sleep toolkit, but the medieval mind saw the world as alive with unseen forces, and such natural oddities were part of the cosmic balance. Incorporating witch's butter into sleep rituals was a way of acknowledging and engaging with this mysterious natural order. So as you tuck in tonight, remember those medieval sleepers who trusted not only herbs and prayers but also the strange gelatinous gifts of the forest to guard their dreams. A whimsical reminder of how diverse the quest for rest has always been.
The comforting ritual of bedtime drinks has ancient roots, and medieval sleepyheads often reached for warm milk infused with spices as a gentle sleep aid. Imagine a small earthenware cup filled with creamy milk, warmed by the hearth's glow and sprinkled with cinnamon, nutmeg, or a touch of honey. This soothing beverage was more than just a treat, it was a carefully crafted lullaby for the senses. Milk had long been associated with nourishment and rest, and the addition of aromatic spices enhanced its calming effects. Cinnamon and nutmeg were prized not only for their warm flavors but also for their believed ability to ease digestion and relax the mind. Warmth, sweetness, and spice combined to create a sensory experience designed to coax the body into a restful state. Historians still debate whether these bedtime drinks were common among all social classes or mostly enjoyed by the wealthy who had access to such spices. After all, cinnamon and nutmeg were imported luxuries, sparking the famous spice trade routes. Yet, the idea of warm, spiced milk as a sleep aid resonated broadly, crossing boundaries of wealth and region. For children, warm milk with honey was a staple, calming their restless bodies and minds before sleep. Adults might sip stronger concoctions, adding herbal infusions or even small amounts of wine, though the latter came with warnings about potential sleep disruption. The ritual of drinking something warm before bed, particularly milk, transcends cultures and eras, speaking to a universal human need for comfort and security at night. You might recall the simple pleasure of a nighttime cup, feeling the warmth seep through you as the day's worries melt away. Medieval texts often recommended such drinks as part of a holistic sleep regimen, paired with herbal teas, prayers, and quiet contemplation. This layered approach to rest shows a sophisticated understanding of how different sensory experiences, taste, smell, warmth, work together to prepare the body for sleep. So, next time you cradle a warm mug in your hands, think of those medieval sleepyheads whose nightly lullaby was a sip of spiced milk, a sweet and soothing promise of dreams to come.
Music as a sleep aid isn't a modern invention. Medieval life often included gentle sounds meant to soothe and calm. Imagine a quiet evening in a small village, the soft notes of a flute or the lull of a simple lullaby floating through the air, gently coaxing children, and perhaps even adults, towards sleep. These sounds were not just entertainment but part of a carefully crafted bedtime ritual. In many households, music was woven into daily life, and the transition to nightfall came with softer, slower melodies. Flutes, harps, and stringed instruments provided calming background sounds, while lullabies passed down through generations carried both soothing rhythms and comforting stories. You might picture a parent humming a gentle tune, the repetition and melody a natural white noise that quieted busy minds. Historians still argue whether such music was reserved mainly for children or if adults also benefited from these sounds as sleep aids. Either way, the connection between rhythmic music and relaxation was well understood. The repetition in melodies helped create predictable, calming environments, much like the chants of monks we talked about earlier. Musical sleep aids also served social functions, marking the end of the day and signaling a shared moment of peace. In a world filled with uncertainty and hard labor, these rituals brought comfort and continuity, knitting families and communities together in rest. Imagine how different the soundscape was from today's constant digital noise, soft, natural human-made sounds that eased the transition from wakefulness to sleep. These traditions remind us that music's power to calm and heal is timeless. So as you listen to your favorite soothing playlist tonight, remember those medieval families whose lullabies and flute tunes cradled them gently into sleep, an ancient, melodic bridge to the dream world.
The influence of astrology on medieval sleep habits was both fascinating and deeply woven into everyday life. Imagine peering up at a clear night sky, stars twinkling in patterns believed to govern everything from health to destiny. People thought the positions of the moon and planets dictated the best times to rest, influencing not only when to sleep but also the quality of that sleep. Medieval scholars and common folk alike consulted almanacs and astrologers, planning their daily rhythms around celestial events. For instance, some believed that sleeping during a full moon could cause vivid dreams or restlessness, while certain planetary alignments were thought to promote deep, restorative slumber. You can almost feel the weight of the stars as they guided these decisions, blending science, faith, and folklore. Historians still argue how much astrology truly affected sleep practices versus serving as a comforting framework for understanding the unknown. Regardless, the belief was widespread enough that it shaped bedtime rituals, from when to go to bed to what herbs to use for sleep. Astrological timing also influenced medical treatments and the preparation of sleep aids. Apothecaries might recommend collecting herbs or brewing potions only under specific moon phases to maximize their potency. This added a cosmic layer to the already intricate sleep rituals. You might chuckle at the idea of scheduling your sleep by the stars, but this practice shows the medieval desire to find order and control in a chaotic world. It reflects the timeless human hope that the cosmos can offer guidance, even for something as personal as rest. So as you glance at the night sky tonight, consider the generations before you who looked up and let the heavens shape their dreams, weaving celestial rhythms into the fabric of their sleep.
The use of crushed pearls and minerals in medieval sleep remedies might sound like a luxury beyond imagination, and in many ways it was. Imagine fine powders of pearl dust or ground gemstones carefully mixed into potions or sprinkled onto pillows, all believed to bring about peaceful, restorative sleep. These precious ingredients were prized for their supposed calming properties and spiritual significance, bridging medicine and mysticism. Pearls, associated with purity and the moon, were thought to cool the blood and calm the mind, helping to balance the humors and chase away sleeplessness. Minerals like powdered lapis lazuli or malachite found their way into ointments and elixirs, believed to protect sleepers from nightmares and evil spirits. The shimmer of these materials symbolized clarity and serenity, promising a night of undisturbed rest. Historians still debate whether these costly remedies were truly effective or primarily status symbols among the wealthy. Access to such ingredients was limited, making them rare luxuries rather than everyday sleep aids. However, their inclusion in medical texts and inventories shows how deeply intertwined medicine and symbolism were. The application methods varied. Some powders were ingested in tiny amounts, while others were applied externally or even scattered in bedrooms. The shimmer of crushed pearls catching candlelight added an almost magical ambience to the sleep environment, enhancing the sensory experience of rest. This practice reflects medieval attempts to harness natural beauty and rarity for health, merging physical, spiritual, and aesthetic needs. It's easy to imagine the allure of a shimmering potion promising dreams as luminous as the pearls within. So as you settle in tonight, perhaps surrounded by soft fabrics and gentle lights, think of those medieval sleepers who trusted in the quiet power of crushed gems and pearls, seeking a shimmer of calm in the mystery of sleep.
The warmth of hot stones and warming beds was a cornerstone of medieval sleep comfort, a simple yet effective way to ease into peaceful slumber. Imagine a bed layered with thick blankets, beneath which heated stones were carefully placed to radiate gentle warmth through the night. This practice wasn't just about physical comfort. It was believed to balance the body's humors and soothe restless nerves. In a time before central heating, cold stone floors and drafty rooms made warmth a precious commodity. Hot stones, often heated by the hearth and wrapped in cloth, provided localized heat that helped ease muscle tension and promote relaxation. You can almost feel the cozy heat radiating upward, chasing away the chill and inviting the body to unwind. Some beds were constructed with built-in compartments or hollow spaces specifically designed to hold warming stones. This early innovation turned sleeping quarters into cozy refuges against the cold, blending practicality with a deep understanding of comfort's role in sleep quality. Historians still debate how widespread the use of warming stones was, whether it was common in rural homes or primarily an urban or aristocratic luxury. However, texts from the period frequently mention warmth as a crucial factor for good sleep, emphasizing the importance of regulating body temperature. In addition to stones, people used thick wool blankets, fur throws, and even heated bricks placed near beds to create a warm microclimate. These layers of warmth not only soothed the body but also provided psychological comfort, reassuring sleepers against the dangers lurking in cold darkness. Interestingly, warming beds also intersected with medieval medical theories about blood and humors. Coldness was thought to disturb the balance, leading to restlessness or illness, while warmth restored harmony. This blend of physical and theoretical rationale made the practice a cornerstone of nighttime rituals. So as you tuck under your blanket tonight, warmed by modern heating or a cozy duvet, remember the medieval sleepers who relied on simple hot stones, a tactile, warming embrace bridging centuries in the universal pursuit of restful sleep.
Medieval remedies against nightmares were as varied and imaginative as the dreams they sought to banish. Imagine lying in bed, clutching a small bundle of herbs or a protective charm, hoping to ward off those unsettling visions that might plague your sleep. Nightmares were taken seriously. They were seen as omens, attacks by evil spirits, or signs of imbalance in the body's humors. Herbs like mugwort, wormwood, and valerian were popular ingredients in sachets or pillow stuffing, believed to repel bad dreams and soothe the mind. Some remedies included sprinkling holy water or blessed salt around the bed to create a protective barrier. The ritual was as much about calming anxiety as it was about actual magic or medicine. Historians still argue how much these practices reflected genuine belief versus psychological comfort. In a world rife with uncertainty, these rituals gave sleepers a sense of control over their nighttime fears. The use of charms and prayers alongside herbs illustrates the holistic approach to health, body, mind, and spirit working together. Some households kept special amulets, often inscribed with prayers or religious symbols, near beds. These objects were thought to guard sleepers against demonic visitations and restless spirits. You can almost feel the tension in the air as a family prepares their bedtime protections, blending faith and folk wisdom. Interestingly, medieval texts also caution against certain foods or drinks believed to provoke nightmares. Spicy meals, excessive alcohol, or rich sweets were said to disturb the mind. This dietary connection reflects a nuanced understanding of how lifestyle impacted sleep quality. So as you settle under your covers tonight, consider the medieval sleepers who faced their own nightly battles with bad dreams, armed with herbs, prayers, and charms in a timeless quest for peaceful rest.
The medieval world had very specific ideas about sleep positions. Yes, even that mattered. Imagine being advised to lie on your left side to improve digestion and promote sound rest, or perhaps to avoid sleeping flat on your back for fear of spiritual vulnerability. Sleep was not just about rest, it was a carefully balanced act influenced by bodily humors and spiritual considerations. Doctors and scholars of the time believed that certain positions helped maintain the proper flow of blood and air through the body, vital for balancing the four humors: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. Sleeping on the left side was thought to prevent the accumulation of harmful humors in the chest and lungs, leading to more peaceful sleep and better health. Religious beliefs also influenced these recommendations. Some thought that lying with the head to the east aligned the sleeper with the rising sun, promoting spiritual renewal, while others warned against positions thought to invite evil spirits or bad dreams. You might chuckle imagining all the medieval sleep gurus debating the correct way to snooze. Historians still argue how widely these recommendations were followed, especially among common folk who might not have had the luxury to choose their sleeping arrangements. Yet, the fact that such guidance existed shows the importance placed on sleep as part of overall well-being. In some regions, special pillows or bed hangings marked sleeping positions, and elaborate beds were designed to encourage proper postures. These details show the care taken to blend comfort, health, and spirituality into the act of rest. So as you adjust your pillow tonight or settle into your favorite position, consider the medieval sleepers who believed that how you lie down could be just as important as when you do. An intriguing reminder that sleep has always been a complex and cherished part of life.
The interplay between humors and sleep was central to medieval medicine's understanding of rest and health. Imagine the body as a delicate balance of four fluids: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile, each influencing temperament, mood, and bodily functions including sleep. Too much or too little of any humor could lead to insomnia, nightmares, or restless nights. Physicians advised treatments aimed at restoring this balance. For example, if someone had an excess of black bile, believed to cause melancholy and insomnia, they might be prescribed warming remedies or calming herbs to counteract the cold and dryness associated with that humor. These treatments reflected a holistic approach that linked mental state and physical health closely together. Bloodletting, purging, and dietary adjustments were common methods to correct humor imbalances, but they came with risks. Historians still argue how effective these practices truly were, and whether the harms sometimes outweighed the benefits. However, the theory of humors shaped sleep remedies for centuries, influencing everything from herbal concoctions to bedtime rituals. The theory extended to environmental factors too. Cold, damp air was thought to increase phlegm, making sleep difficult, while heat and dryness affected other humors differently. This explained the medieval emphasis on warm beds, scented herbs, and fresh air, all aimed at maintaining humor equilibrium. You might find it odd that sleep quality was tied to bodily fluids, but this framework was remarkably sophisticated for its time. It provided a language to describe the complex relationship between mind, body, and environment, something modern medicine continues to explore. So as you breathe deeply tonight, imagine those medieval sleepers balancing unseen forces within, their quest for restful slumber entwined with the delicate dance of humors, a timeless reminder of our body's intricate harmony.
Now brace yourself, this one's a bit wild. The peculiar use of crocodile dung as a sleep balm. Yes, you heard that right. While it might make you wrinkle your nose, medieval and earlier cultures sometimes used all kinds of, let's say, unconventional ingredients in their sleep remedies. Crocodile dung was believed to have powerful protective and healing properties, and was occasionally ground into ointments or applied to the skin to ward off nightmares or insomnia. Imagine the alchemist or healer mixing this unusual ingredient into a balm, confident that its potency would calm restless spirits or evil influences. Historians still debate the origins and effectiveness of such treatments. Some argue it was more symbolic, a kind of spiritual armor, while others believe there might have been some perceived medicinal benefit, especially given the natural antiseptic properties of certain animal products. Despite sounding bizarre to us, this practice reflects the medieval mindset, where nature, superstition, and medical practice blended seamlessly. The boundary between what we'd call science and magic was porous, and strange ingredients were often embraced if believed to work. You can almost hear a modern-day apothecary exclaiming, "Maybe we'll skip the crocodile dung tonight." Yet, for medieval folks, it was just another tool in the vast sleep toolkit, no more strange than valerian root or poppy seeds. This oddity reminds us how cultural context shapes medicine, and how the quest for peaceful sleep has led humanity down all sorts of unexpected paths, some fragrant and soothing, others downright pungent. So tonight, as you settle into your comfortable bed, be glad for modern comforts, and spare a thought for those brave souls who trusted crocodile dung to guard their dreams.
The soothing power of music and rhythmic sounds played a quiet but important role in medieval monastic life, shaping sleep patterns through the gentle discipline of chant. Imagine stone abbeys filled with the soft, steady rise and fall of Gregorian chants, voices blending in slow, meditative harmony. This was more than a spiritual practice. It was a form of sonic therapy, calming restless minds and signaling time to rest. Monks followed strict schedules, their days punctuated by these repetitive prayers. The chant's hypnotic rhythms helped regulate the body's internal clock, creating a sense of order amid the uncertainty of medieval life. The steady pace and simple melodies provided a comforting backdrop for those preparing to sleep in cold, bare cells. Historians still debate whether these chants primarily served religious or therapeutic purposes. Either way, the mental focus required to participate in or listen to chanting could quiet racing thoughts, much like modern mindfulness practices. The communal nature of chant also fostered a shared sense of peace and safety, crucial for restful sleep. Beyond monasteries, similar practices found their way into lay communities. Simple lullabies or prayers chanted softly helped children and adults alike settle down for the night. The connection between sound and relaxation was intuitively understood long before science caught up. Imagine how different the medieval soundscape was from today's noisy world. No honking cars or buzzing electronics, just the pure, steady sound of human voices weaving a timeless lullaby. This legacy reminds us that music's power to heal and calm is woven deep into our history. So as you drift off tonight, maybe hum a soft tune or listen to gentle chants, connecting with an ancient tradition of soothing the mind through sound, a timeless path to peaceful sleep.
The use of poppy oil in medieval massage was an intriguing and somewhat luxurious practice aimed at promoting relaxation and restful sleep. Imagine a small vial of rich, golden oil infused with the essence of poppy seeds, gently warmed and applied to weary muscles and tense shoulders before bedtime. This wasn't just a soothing ritual but a therapeutic act believed to ease both physical and mental tension. Poppy oil was prized for its calming properties, and massage itself was recognized for its ability to reduce stress and promote circulation, both important for restful slumber. The combination of gentle touch and the subtle, earthy scent of the oil created a sensory experience designed to prepare the body for deep rest. Historians still argue whether this practice was widespread or limited to certain regions and social classes. Some evidence suggests it was more common among the wealthy who could afford specialized oils and the time for massage, while others used more accessible herbal balms. Either way, the emphasis on touch and scent highlights a holistic approach to sleep preparation. The use of poppy oil connects to broader medieval medical theories about balancing humors and soothing the nervous system. Applied externally, it was thought to draw out harmful influences and calm internal unrest. This aligns with modern understandings of massage therapy's benefits for relaxation. You might smile at the thought of medieval massage, but remember that caring touch and comforting scents remain powerful tools in our sleep toolkit today. The desire to unwind body and mind before sleep is a universal human experience, linking us across centuries. So tonight, as you rub lotion or oil onto your skin, think of those medieval sleepers who trusted the gentle magic of poppy oil massage, a fragrant, tactile bridge to peaceful dreams.
The color and intensity of candlelight played a subtle but significant role in medieval sleep environments. Imagine a bedroom softly illuminated by flickering candles, their warm glow casting gentle shadows across stone walls and heavy tapestries. The type of candle and how brightly it burned were thought to influence the quality of sleep, shaping the atmosphere in which rest was sought. Candles made from beeswax were prized for their clean, sweet scent and steady burn, while tallow candles, made from animal fat, produced a smokier, stronger odor. The latter was often cheaper but less desirable in bedrooms where restful sleep was a priority. The dimness of candlelight helped signal the transition from day to night, encouraging the body's natural rhythms to wind down. Historians still argue whether medieval people understood the effects of light on circadian rhythms or if their candle choices were guided more by practicality and superstition. However, they recognized intuitively that harsh or flickering light disturbed sleep. Some texts recommend using multiple small candles rather than a single bright one to create a soothing, balanced light. Color temperature was less understood, but certain oils and additives could tint candle flames, sometimes for ceremonial or protective reasons. The interplay of light and shadow was also tied to spiritual beliefs. Too bright might attract evil spirits, too dim might invite darkness and fear. You might imagine medieval sleepers carefully selecting their candles, balancing the need for safety, comfort, and even spiritual protection. This attention to lighting created an environment conducive to relaxation and rest. So as you dim your lights tonight or choose a soft lamp, remember those medieval nights warmed by candle glow, a gentle reminder of how light shapes our journey to sleep.
In medieval communities, odd laws regulating nighttime noise were surprisingly common, reflecting how precious sleep was to both individuals and society. Imagine the quiet hush settling over a village as dusk falls, the streets emptying and households retreating to their beds. To preserve this peace, local authorities often imposed curfews or noise restrictions, aiming to prevent disturbances that might keep the community awake. These laws varied widely but could include prohibitions on loud talking, animal noises, or even the striking of bells after a certain hour. Town criers or watchmen enforced these rules, reminding citizens that a quiet night was a shared responsibility. You might chuckle at the thought of medieval noise police, but their role was essential in an age without modern soundproofing. Historians still argue about how strictly these laws were observed or enforced, especially in rural areas where communal life was more relaxed. However, their existence underscores the value placed on uninterrupted sleep and social order. Disturbances at night could have serious consequences, from fatigue-related accidents to weakened defenses against dangers lurking in the dark. Some records describe fines or penalties for offenders, ranging from small monetary charges to public reprimands. In some places, even children were expected to keep quiet after curfew, illustrating how sleep preservation was woven into daily life. These noise regulations also reflect medieval understanding of health. Sleep was seen as vital for maintaining the balance of humors and overall well-being, so protecting it was both a public health and moral concern. The boundary between personal freedom and communal welfare was negotiated through such laws. So tonight, as you enjoy a quiet evening free from raucous noises, remember those medieval sleepers protected by their own quiet hours, a communal embrace of rest that still resonates in our modern curfews and noise ordinances.
The emergence of early pillows and mattresses marked a gradual shift toward greater comfort in medieval sleep, reflecting changing attitudes about rest and well-being. Imagine a simple wooden frame, over which layers of straw, feathers, or wool were carefully piled, creating a soft surface that cushioned the body after a long day of labor. These early mattresses weren't the plush, cloud-like things we know today, but they were a welcome upgrade from hard floors or bare boards. Pillows too began to evolve. Beyond stuffed sacks of herbs, some featured feathers or wool fillings, offering support for the head and neck. Wealthier households might boast feather pillows, considered a luxury and a sign of status, while common folk relied on straw or rougher materials. The quest for comfort was real, even if limited by available resources. Historians still debate how widespread these comforts were, whether rural peasants had access to such bedding or if it was mainly urban and noble innovation. Yet, documents and inventories from the period show an increasing interest in bedding quality, suggesting that sleep was becoming a focus of personal care. These developments aligned with medieval medical ideas about sleep's importance for health and the body's need for proper rest to restore the humors. A comfortable bed was seen as essential to achieving deep, uninterrupted sleep, especially during harsh winters or illness. You might picture medieval craftsmen specializing in making beds and bedding, tailoring their products to the buyer's means and desires. The textures and materials used, wool, flax, feathers, also carried symbolic meanings and practical benefits, like warmth and breathability. So tonight, as you sink into your mattress and fluff your pillow, consider those medieval sleepers who embraced the slow evolution of comfort, laying the groundwork for the restful nights we often take for granted.
Herbal pillows also served a practical purpose beyond fragrance and dream magic. They were used to ward off pests that threatened a good night's sleep. Imagine a bed layered with aromatic herbs like lavender, mint, and rosemary, not just for their soothing scents but to keep away fleas, moths, and other bothersome insects. In a time before modern pest control, these herbal defenses were vital for comfort. People believed that certain herbs repelled unwanted critters through their strong odors and natural oils. These herbs were often sewn into small sachets or stuffed directly into pillows and mattresses. The ritual of preparing such pillows was as much about health and hygiene as it was about relaxation. Historians still debate how effective these herbal pest repellents really were, especially given the prevalence of pests in medieval homes. However, the practice shows a keen awareness of environmental factors influencing sleep quality. Living close to animals and with less sanitation, controlling pests was a constant challenge. You might chuckle picturing a medieval sleeper surrounded by a fortress of fragrant herbs, battling tiny invaders in the dark. Yet, the scent itself likely provided psychological comfort, creating a sense of protection even if the bugs occasionally won. This use of herbal pillows also connects to broader beliefs about the spiritual protection these plants offered, warding off both physical and invisible threats. The overlap of hygiene, superstition, and comfort illustrates the complex medieval approach to health. So as you fluff your pillow tonight, consider the layered history it carries, from soothing scents to subtle defenses, a fragrant legacy guarding your dreams through the ages.
As we near the end of our journey through medieval sleep remedies, it's time to reflect on the fascinating blend of science, superstition, and comfort that shaped how people sought rest. Imagine a world where herbal teas, fragrant pillows, rhythmic chants, and warming stones intertwined with prayers, talismans, and sometimes the peculiar use of crocodile dung. Each element was part of a tapestry woven from centuries of observation, belief, and hope. Medieval sleepers didn't have our modern conveniences, but they shared our universal longing for peaceful, restorative sleep. Their remedies might seem strange now, but they reveal a deep understanding of the senses, environment, and mind-body connection. The rituals they created, steeped in the scents of lavender and honey, the warmth of baths and stones, the sounds of chants and lullabies, offer a timeless lesson that sleep is as much about comfort and care as it is about biology. Historians still puzzle over which remedies truly worked and which were hopeful guesswork, yet the legacy of these practices lives on. Today's sleep aids, aromatherapy, sound machines, warm baths, echo medieval wisdom in new forms, connecting us across time in the shared human quest for rest. So as you nestle into your own bed tonight, surrounded by modern comforts, take a moment to honor those medieval dreamers who, despite their challenges, crafted a world of gentle rituals and heartfelt hope. Their quest reminds us that sleep is sacred, a refuge where body and soul renew, wrapped in care, tradition, and quiet magic. Now dim the lights, let your breath soften, and drift into the calm embrace of sleep. Sweet dreams.